Kamini Amana. You want to stay on for details of these stories and plenty others over the next hour here on GHOne Television. Thanks for joining us here in our first story. Undoubtedly, Ghana can boast of a vibrant landscape, but press freedom in the West African nation still remains elusive. As the world celebrates World Press Freedom Day, Ridwan Karim Dini Osman takes a microscopic look at the challenges journalists face and how many have recently become the targets of unwarranted attacks in the country.
The day might not be known or recognized much outside media circles, but all of us consume mass communication in one way or the other, whether it's music, soap operas, current affairs, or news. The theme for this year, according to UNESCO, is Critical Minds for Critical Times, Media's Role in Advancing Peaceful, Just and Inclusive Societies. This theme alone is telling, given the fact that the media is suffering serious challenges because of numerous factors. Across many African countries, journalists face similar or worse aggressions in the pretext of silencing them for speaking truth to power. So, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres did not mince words when he called for an end to all crackdowns against journalists this year.
Journalists go to the most dangerous places to give voice to the voiceless. Media workers suffer character assassination, sexual assault, detention, injuries, and even death. We need leaders to defend the free media. This is crucial to counter prevailing misinformation, and we need everyone to stand for our right to truth. On World Press Freedom Day, I call for an end to all crackdowns against journalists.
Long seen as having a safe operating environment for journalists, Ghana is fast gaining a reputation for harboring hostility against the press. Episodes of journalists being harassed, beaten up or battered have escalated to alarming levels over the last few years. The sheer lack of commitment by political leaders towards the passage of the Right to Information Bill into law has not made things easy.
A politician will always be a politician. A politician will defend his or her own. The politician doesn't feel that you have to be intrusive, and definitely will withhold some of these freedoms you should have. I think our various journalism associations would have to now champion a certain agenda to have such a law passed.
Journalists have been attacked by politicians, the police, government officials, and members of the public. Just 2 months ago, freelance journalist Patrick Ofer was alleged to have been attacked by some military men seeking to recover from him a certain sensitive photo he had taken around the Independence Square. As if that was not enough, while covering a fire incident involving Ashfoam Company Limited, I was assaulted by unknown macho men at the warehouse of the company upon suspicion that I was taking pictures of the inferno. GHOne News camera technician Ebenezer Mensah on May 1 was seriously injured by security officials at the Makola market when they went to the market to see how traders were coping on Workers' Day. In most cases, media associations like the Ghana Journalists Association and the Media Foundation for West Africa only sympathize with victims but fail to fight for justice for these journalists. And for Joy FM News editor Jifa Bampo, the time has come for a change.
Not just about complaining. Sometimes you would have wished that the GJ may file a legal action on behalf of the journalist. We've not really seen that. A lot of the time, individual journalists have had to hire lawyers, or a media house would have to hire a lawyer and pursue this. And you and I know how the legal regime is in this country. It takes a long time. So sometimes if you as a young journalist, if you don't have the support of your management or your association, then the apathy sets in.
Even though a number of individuals have been found culpable of assaulting journalists, not much has been done to expedite action on such cases. However, on his part, Professor Emeritus of the Department of Journalism at the African University College of Communication, Nana Esiufi Kondia, insists some journalists have been irresponsible, adding that efforts should be made to purge them off the profession.
GJA should be able to establish who is a journalist. And by that I mean he who has paper. And not just paper. He who can prove himself. Because in this job, you are always placing yourself at the bar of public opinion. For anything you say, any cough, any sneeze, the dot, the full stop, the comma, the apostrophes that you make, that is what you get yourself judged favorably or disfavorably by the public.
There are fears that the situation of journalists might get worse because of the extreme political positions of corporates and ownership structures of media houses. Assault is not the only problem bedeviling the Ghanaian media. Gender is also a very sensitive area, with the women perceived to be the brand bearers. However, the debate is sharply divided even among the women themselves.
There's a encourage women to flower and flourish.
We do have a lot more women in the media. I think the difficulty is having a lot of women at the editorial and decision-making level, say at executive management. A lot of the time, the number of women at that level is low. And even at the editorial level, for a long time, you didn't have many female or women editors, whether it's in television or in newspaper or generally, let's say, in broadcasting or in newspaper. But that has changed. There's a lot of diversity now. You even have sports editors who are women. And so we're gradually creeping up.
But in all of this, Nana Esufi Kondia believes media women are responsible for their own woes.
You send a girl to an assignment, she arrives there late. She goes and crosses her legs and files her nails. At the end, all she's looking for is for the copy of the speech that was delivered. And bet you they wouldn't come back to the office in time. They arrived later, or they wouldn't attend at all. The news editor will call her sister's daughter was in hospital. It's an old story. It has raised several variations in the newsroom. People in the newsroom will smile and laugh. But that is so with our girls. When you want them on important assignment to go, excuses because they feel inadequate to it.
Interestingly, some members of the public believe some journalists have failed to be fair and honest in their work. Equally, government officials have often castigated the media for irresponsible reporting and emphasized that there is no such thing as absolute freedom of the press.
We'll stay on World Press Freedom Day. This time we'll take you to the press center here in Accra, where journalists are marking the day. We'll bring you some live feed from an event ongoing there. Let's take a look at that now.
Lady who represents a coalition for freedom of information, be assured that if there is any good or benefit to this law, it is not for the MPP nor for the NDC, but to you and your coalition and the good people of Ghana. That we are opening the sunshine on darkness, on corruption, which remains a debilitating act undermining our national development. And therefore, corruption hates darkness. And when it hates darkness, that's why freedom of information belongs to the category and generation of legislation we call the Sunshine Laws. That's why we have the Whistleblower Act, Public Officers Liability and Accountability Act. The GHOne today have a public code of conduct. Parliament has a code of conduct. The executive has a code of conduct. All of it is meant to shine so that there is more openness and transparency in the business of governance. Be assured that the minority and majority are in harmony to collectively fight corruption, to deepen the sunshine on the darkness of corruption because of its debilitating impact. And we will support wholeheartedly and in a bipartisan manner the passage of a freedom of information bill. Therefore, let's wait for it to be introduced and be assured that we will continue to support public policy that fights economic graft and economic criminality. And therefore, the twin bills of freedom of information and Broadcaster Bill, Parliament is not and cannot and will not be in a dilemma. Parliament will wait for its introduction, and you should understand procedure. Once the Civ Parliament lapses, all other bills have to be reintroduced. Once it's reintroduced, and I'm sure the president of the coalition, I was a signature to your coalition in opposition, supported you in government, and will repeat same with my minority in opposition. I thank you for the opportunity.
Well, we'll stay at the forum a bit longer, but speak with our correspondent on the ground, Dela Michelle, who's joining us via telephone. Hello, Dela.
Hello, Kemini.
We just saw Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu leave the stage after delivering his statement today as the world marks press freedom. But what exactly was he talking about?
Well, he was talking about the theme for this year's celebration, that is Ghana still in terms of rights information law and then the broadcasting law. And the question is in a dilemma. So he was answering to it that Parliament is not in dilemma, though it has taken a while for that particular bill or the law to be passed, and they are working the field that before the year ends, a PI law will be passed here in Ghana, and that the freedom of all journalists will not be infringed, and that they're going to support the journalists' freedom and also in terms of their promotion and their fight for adequate information.
I see. Now, before then, take us through what's happened at the forum.
Okay, the yes forum has been quite impressive, according to the DGA press committee, and most of the stakeholders are here. And the theme was what I explained to you earlier. The chairman for the National Media Commission, Nana Kwesi-Jan, also stated that indeed the Rights Information Bill, which has taken so long to be passed, is something that they are looking forward to. And also, it is not just a time to celebrate media freedom in the media, but also it's an opportunity to call on citizens to help defend and promote the independence of media houses. Afamoni also spoke. He also spoke at length about the freedom, the right to information bill to be passed. He also spoke at length and also made interesting statistics. So Ghana is now ranked 26th on the world since last. They're maintaining that position. But in West Africa, Ghana is ranked second when it comes to freedom media.
I see. Now, Dela, just hold the line for me. Let's go back into the conference hall where the forum is taking place. Information Minister Mustafa Hamid is now speaking. We'll come back to you and then pick reactions from journalists at the event.
I don't know what. I think they ought to reform that method of meeting. I don't know whether they still meet like that. He started it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the minority leader has made my work much easier. What I want to say briefly is that when I said, Inshallah, the right to information law would be passed this year, I meant just that. Right now, as I speak, like the minority leader said, we were advised that once the life of a certain parliament lapses, whatever bill or bills were before that parliament ought to be relayed because a new parliament has come into being. And so, to assure you that per the calendar that we have sent to Parliament, it is in there that in the May to July session of this Parliament, the right to information bill shall be before them for debate and for passage. That is a given. It's non-negotiable. And so I want to use that occasion to using an Akan definition of democracy to say that passing the right to information cannot be a negotiable issue. You know, the Akan people say that democracy is called Kabima Minkebi Amambo. That's the street definition of democracy, which literally will mean let me put it that way. If you must say, and I would always also say, we cannot be saying things on emptiness. We cannot be shouting hollow at one another. If we must say something, we must say something of substance. And saying something of substance means that we ought to have information to say so. So the very practice of democracy without the right to information, in my view, is an anomaly. And we are determined to correct that anomaly. Now, however, the accounts also say, they also call law amamre. Amamre is law. But properly speaking, mra is custom. Oman is the nation. So law, by account definition, is the custom of the nation. Now, as journalists, can we proudly say that the traditions that we espouse as journalists reflect our culture as a people, as a uniquely Ghanaian people, an anonymous source, and so on? How could you be writing for 10 years based on anonymous sources? And we don't find that funny. So, whilst the right to information law would come into place, it is also important for us to be mindful of our responsibility towards one another.
I'll bring you more from that forum in subsequent bulletins, but let's end our conversation with Dela Michelle, who is our correspondent on the ground. Dela?
Hello, Dela. Hello, Kemini. Hello, Kemini.
Indeed. Now, prior to the start of the forum, tell us some of the conversations that went on among the journalists who were or who are at the event.
Well, for now, as we all know, recently there's been a report on assault on some journalists. So they are here hoping that such sensitive issues will be touched on by the executive, how they can be secured, especially in this work. And they're looking at what they are going to do also for the assaulted journalists, and how court is going to help in processing such cases that has been brought before them. All the conversations I picked from journalists here, and they are happy that today the celebration is ongoing and has been set by Ghana. But their main issue is with the recent assault on some of our colleagues.
Very well. Now, who else are we expecting to speak at the forum today?
Well, we have the majority leader also here. Honorable Ifua Safwa is here. Adwa Safwa is here, so she would also speak. But we also have the ambassador here, His Excellency William Hanna, Ambassador for the EU. He's also here. He's going to address the gathering shortly. And key stakeholders here also. We have the aspirants for the GHOne elections that is going to be announced. They are all here, and very soon they will also be addressing the gathering.
Indeed, thank you very much. Dela Michelle is an EIB correspondent. She joined us from the press center, where a forum is being held to commemorate World Press Freedom Day today. We'll bring you those sound bites or video clips from the Deputy Majority Leader, Adwa Safwa, and the other invited guests who will be speaking in subsequent broadcasts. But we can now bring you an interview with Dr. Sarah Akrofi-Kwenu, former news editor of Ghana Radio and now a lecturer at the School of Communication Studies at the University of Ghana. She speaks about the history of women in media.
Beijing conference. There was a conference in Beijing in 1995, before 1997, when Ghana attained 40 years. There was a very important conference, the Fourth World Conference on Women, which took place in Beijing, China. And that conference actually heightened awareness on women's issues, gender issues. During that period, a lot of women's groups came together to form NGOs. A lot of women took leadership in several areas. The awareness about the politicization of women and the political participation of women was very much heightened. And some of us in the media thought it was also important to use the media to bring or raise the voices of women in the media. From that position, a few of us came together and founded Women in Broadcasting. Women in Broadcasting was actually meant to give women voices on radio, because we thought that of all the communication media, print women had challenges with literacy, and for radio, radio uses different languages and it's oral in nature, and therefore women had a closer relationship with radio than with print, and we felt that we could build on that relationship by getting many more women interested in using the media for their various forms of expression. And so Women in Broadcasting was founded, and the membership of Women in Broadcasting was made up of women in broadcast institutions that were growing, that were beginning to emerge. Because right after 1992, before the 40th anniversary of Ghana's independence, we saw a liberalized media, and the liberalization also came with a lot of radio stations, a lot of television stations, and a lot of newspapers.
Well, it's also a very good time to have a conversation about the state of the Right to Information Bill, which is to be reintroduced in Parliament now for obvious reasons. But we'll do that in the course of the program today. Right now, let's turn attention to transport. Parts of the Accra-Tema motorway will be closed to traffic for about 3 months. The closure forms part of the construction works aimed at improving traffic around the Tema motorway roundabout. As a result, all vehicles passing through the Tema motorway roundabout to the Tema Harbour shall be diverted to use the Hospital Road and Hospital Link Road as alternate routes to join the main harbour road. Let's speak to our correspondent Kwame Seto, who is checking the traffic situation on that stretch. Hello, Seto.
Yeah, Kemini, I can hear you.
And now you've been there for a while. What can you report?
Thank you very much, Kemini. Currently, we are at the Tema motorway roundabout where the extension work is going on. Behind me, you see bulldozers moving around where the work is progressing steadily. Actually, the construction work started on Sunday. That was when they had traffic congestions around. But currently, right now, it has subsided. If you take a look at the Akosombo line coming towards, you realize that the space is a little bit free. And when you go towards the motorway side also, you also realize that we have a free passage over there. But I have with me over here Mr. Nana Benjamin Nana Boatin from the Roads and Safety. Yeah, construction firm of Sino Hydro. So he would give us an in-depth knowledge as to what really the project is about and the kind of interim measures they've placed together to be able to make sure that this traffic situation has been subsided. Mr. Benjamin, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
At the beginning of the project, people had slight situations with the traffic. What measures do people put in place to be able to prevent such challenges?
Actually, the Tema roundabout has a very serious traffic problem. And so that's the main reason why this particular project is ongoing. Actually, initially you see more than this, but even as you know, you step anything or you cut anything, we know it's the contractor. So, but we're still managing the traffic, yes. Yes.
So when are we expecting the project to be completed?
Actually, the project is supposed to be completed in 7 to 9 months. And currently, we're hoping that by July we should finish this project. Yes.
Okay, so do they work both day and night, or it's just day? Wow.
Initially, we started working day, but with time, we realized that we need to speed up our works. So we started working night too as well. So it depends, but we work night too, yes. Sometimes.
Okay, so this is the phase 2. Then from phase 2, what's next?
Actually, this part we've got to is the diversion phase 2A. And after diversion phase 2A, we go to diversion phase 2B. This is a simple diversion we have from Accra to the Tema Central or the Tema Harbour area. If you necessarily want to go to the Tema Harbour, it means you have to pass through this particular route, which is a diversion approach. And you get to the total, then after that you continue with your route. So we use the what we call the hospital road for the meantime. Then after that, we also switch to another part of diversion. So currently, that is what is happening. Yes.
Okay, this conversation here, we'll come back to you for more in subsequent broadcasts. Kwame Seto is an EIB correspondent on the ground at the Tema Motorway roundabout. You're watching Newsroom. We're live on GHOne Television, and my name is Kimini Amano. In other stories, the Association of Oil Marketing Companies of Ghana have given government a 48-hour ultimatum to stop illegal marketing of petroleum products in the country. Now, according to the association, it is estimated that the government will lose over 1 billion cedis this year if the trend continues.
According to the Association of Oil Marketing Companies of Ghana, about 4,000 workers in the petroleum sector are likely to lose their jobs within the next few months if government fails to stop the illegal sale of petroleum products in the country. The association said most oil marketing companies are unable to service loans that were taken from the banks, explaining that the illegal trade has led to massive drops in profits. He feared the black market practice, which started in early 2016 and rose beyond comparable measures in February 2017, could even threaten the solvency of some banks that were gracious enough to lend to some association members.
These unscrupulous people keep escalating their activities on a daily basis in broad daylight with impunity, in a manner that defies logic and destroys the legitimate business of our members. This practice will seriously undermine the efforts being made to ensure that the consumer gets quality premium products by eroding the gains made so far in the fight against the dumping of dirty fuel on our market. This is because these illegal cheap products with high sulfur content and other adulterants will flood the market and make OMCs unable to sell their high-quality products with low sulfur content.
The chief executive indicated that this developing menace, if not tackled, could serve as a conduit for money laundering and terrorism financing and eventually threaten national security. According to Ajimendria, the other means adopted by the illegal operators for their act include illegal diversion of non-taxed industrial products for sale as petrol, as well as the dangerous practice of tanker-to-tanker transfer of the illegal products.
We are giving the government 48 hours to bring this menace to an end. We firmly believe that the government has the requisite authority, tools, instruments, and relevant resources, such as security institutions, to stamp out this menace within this period. We also believe that our regulators, security operatives, and the governmental agencies know the culprits and that they should act without fear or ill will.
This is Newsroom. Let's go over our top stories again. The world marks World Press Freedom Day here in Ghana. Government reiterates its commitment to pass the Right to Information Bill and parts of the Accra-Tema motorway to be closed to traffic for the next 3 months in order to pave way for repair works. In business, Chief Executive of Cocoa Board tours cocoa processing facilities in Tema. And in Sports Brief today, Cristiano Ronaldo's hat-trick helped Real Madrid beat city rivals Atletico Madrid 3-0 in the first leg of the Champions League semi-final. Elsewhere on the continent, a Ugandan journalist is to spend World Press Freedom Day behind bars. There's more news ahead on the program this day. Short up to.
By popular demand, the revenge is back.
I'm sorry, Durga. I can't marry you.
Is this how you treat your daughter? If your daughter over here was in Durga's shoes, would you let this happen? Would you let this happen with Kangna?
Catch all the excitement, the drama, the thrills and the unending suspense on The Revenge as it hits your TV screens once again.
Durga Thakur, I know you are responsible for Shaurya's state.
Shaurya doesn't know what life is, what pain is.
You think that you will be able to evade what you did?
For the first time, he will feel the pain that he has kept on evading. He will suffer that. And his suffering will be our strength.
No, Durga Thakur, I promise you, you will have to go through much more pain than Shaurya is going through right now.
Each weekday at 6 p.m., get enthralled with all the action and drama from Sakshi, Shaurya, Durga and the rest of the Goenka family, and catch the omnibus every Sunday at 10 a.m. only on GH1 TV.
We're back. You're watching Newsroom live on GH1 television. My name is Kamini Amano. In other stories, some aggrieved members of the ruling New Patriotic Party in the Shamar district of the Western region have demonstrated over what they describe as the unfairness in the criteria used in selecting district chief executives.
The group contend President Nana Akufo-Addo's District Chief Executive, DCE nominee, Joseph Amoah, who once served as the DCE for the Shamar district under the erstwhile Kufuor administration, is a clear breach of trust, stating both the DCE and MP cannot come from the same area at the disadvantage of other communities. According to the leaders of the demonstration, Joseph Amoah's nomination will only fuel disunity in the party in the area, since the president and the selection committee did not factor in community balance.
The heads of churches in the Ashanti region have resolved to assist government in the fight against illegal mining, locally referred to as galamsey. The Christian group says they cannot keep mute on the galamsey issue due to the devastating effects it has on the environment.
Addressing the media in the Ashanti region, immediate past Bishop of Methodist Church of Ghana, Right Reverend Professor Osei Safo Kantanka, indicated that the church would not tolerate the selfish ambitions of some individuals and groups in destroying the environment. He further indicated that the galamsey menace is causing wanton destruction to property, including cocoa farms and the country's water bodies, adding the cost of damage cannot be quantified in monetary terms. The unbelievable death toll on the galamsey operators themselves is said to be between 200 and 400 annually. The Right Reverend also lamented the use of chemicals and its resultant effect on the water bodies. The group has therefore warned all Christians to desist from the activities that lead to the destruction of the environment because it is unacceptable to God and to humanity. They've also commended the government for taking a brave step towards fighting the menace. They encourage the government to pursue the fight to the end and not be threatened by the loss of vote.
Let's head for the Bonava region now, where over 12,000 residents region do not have access to potable drinking water. The situation has forced residents to rely on an unwholesome, abandoned dam for all their water needs.
Residents of Atebubu compete with cattle and other livestock for water from the abandoned dam, which is greenish and stinks and not good for human consumption. They walk for about a kilometer before fetching this water. The residents are therefore calling on authorities to do something about the situation as an outbreak of waterborne diseases looms. However, Member of Parliament for the Atebubu Amanting constituency, Kofi Amakohene, has assured something would be done about the water situation.
We are going to facilitate boreholes around. I don't know how many, but if government would be able to give me 4 in a year, I will try and do 4 from my own pocket. And then if my common fund can also support, we make sure my people at the maintain constituency.
You stay with me, I'll be right back with Business Brief.
For 2 months, building in this country is too difficult.
Don't worry, the National Investment Bank We Pay for Your Dream scheme can help you finance your building project.
Listen, NIB gave me cement, iron rods, roofing sheets, and other materials to finish my building.
NIB can also help you purchase your home appliances, your mobile phones, and your motorbikes.
You don't even need to have an NIB account to benefit from the NIB We Pay for Your Dream scheme. No.
Just visit any NIB branch with a valid national photo ID card. And the best part is, all purchased products are at no interest.
Call NIB now on 050-145-1050.
National Investment Bank. Your business is our business.
In our first business story, Chief Executive of Cocoa Board has been touring cocoa processing facilities in Tema. Let's get you an update on this tour now. Our correspondent Francisca Ahen is with a team that is touring the cocoa processing areas in the national capital. Hello, Francisca.
Hi, hello, Kameni.
Tell us what's been going on so far.
Okay, Kameni. The Board chairman of Cocoa Board this morning has been touring some cocoa processing factories within the Tema municipality. The purpose of this tour is to identify the challenges encountered by this company and how best the new government can help address it. We've been to 3 factories so far. The first factory we visited was the GHOne International Company, which was formerly known as the Commodity Processing Industry. This company, we were met by the managing director. We were met by the managing director who took us on a tour to tell us what they do in the. We were told, so far, GHOne is a French cocoa processing company who invested in Niti, which was the former name of the company, because they thought Ghana has the best of cocoa beans that can meet their products.
I see. Now, Francisca, give us clarity on one thing. Is the tour being done by the chief executive of Cocoa Board or the board chairman?
By the board chairman, by the board chairman.
I see. Now, let's go over it again. What is the essence of this tour?
The tour is basically to help the chairman identify some basic challenges this cocoa processing factories are facing.
So far, what have been his observations?
So far, his observation has been that there hasn't been much cocoa beans to meet the production of this cocoa processing factories. That has been the major challenge. And then, the free zone enclaves, you are to export 70% of your product and sell 30% in the local market. Unfortunately, these factories are not being able to do that because of the tax imposition among others, and also attributed this to the processes they have to go through when they want to sell their produce in the local market. They also attributed some challenges to financing their business, as in not enough money to purchase cocoa beans for their factory.
I see, we leave it here. Thank you very much, Francisca Ahin is our correspondent who's on a tour of cocoa processing facilities in Tema with the board chairman of Cocoa Board. In other business stories, a banking consultant, Nano Tui Champon, has said that a review of a capital requirement is good for the country if it needs bigger banks to industrialize. According to him, an upward review of the capital requirements will lead to a merger between some banks in the country and build their capacity to invest massively in key sectors of the economy.
Until now, banks in Ghana were operating with their own corporate governance guidelines, thus making it nearly impossible for them to form a merger. It's against this background that the Bank of Ghana is proposing a generic corporate governance guidelines in line with the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development principles to keep the banks more competitive, efficient, and enhance their capacity to finance government projects in key sectors of the economy. That notwithstanding, he said the review of the capital requirements, though has proven successful in Kenya and Nigeria, has both positive and negative implications.
The present capital requirement is that for banks that have been formed since 2013, they need 120 million. Those before 2013 needed 60 million. Now, going forward, the economy has expanded, GDP has grown, and therefore we need the capital to match. So the proposal is to go for around 250, 260 million. Most people think that a lot of them will get married by amalgamating and joining other banks. All the better, because big banks will do good for the country. Especially now we want to industrialize, we want to do serious agric like they do in Zimbabwe and South Africa, and with the type of capital that you need for such projects, you need big banks to back you.
The central bank is projected to hang the new capital requirement above 200 million cedis. The move is likely to see banks merge, not only to meet the requirement, but also to form strong alliances for growth.
Still in the banking sector, CEOs of banking institutions can no longer stay in that position for more than 15 years. This is because the central bank has pegged the tenure of CEOs at 3 5-year terms, a move aimed at ensuring efficiency. Again, banking consultant Nano Tui Champon welcomed this move, explaining it will minimize personalization of banks by some CEOs.
There are pros and cons. Some of the arguments for leaving it indefinite says it becomes like traditional rulers, where there's no limit as to how long you can be on the throne, and so people then personalize the bank. Others are also calling people as professional meeting attendees, that they are in there for 15, 16, 20, sometimes 25 years, and all they do is to attend meetings. But some ongoing research is being done by a Nigerian where he found that CEOs are most effective when they touch around 16 years in the position. And so all these will come to play before a final decision is taken as to whether we should cap it at 15 or leave it as it is now, where there's no limit as to how many terms that a director or a CEO can serve.
President of Republic Financial Holdings Limited, Nigel Mark Baptiste, the largest shareholder of HFC Bank Ghana, has expressed Republic Bank's commitment to work with HFC Bank Ghana in enhancing their skills in SME and energy financing, which will go a long way in assisting government with their private sector-driven economic recovery plans.
This was disclosed when both entities paid a courtesy call on the president. During this meeting, the president of Ghana congratulated new board chairman of HFC, Charles Winners, on his appointment. The delegation plans to enhance SME activities and improve financial inflows for the energy sector. President of the Republic Financial Holdings also reiterated a commitment to facilitate a contingent of businessmen from the Caribbean region who are prepared to invest and deepen trade links with Ghana. On his part, President Akufo-Addo endorsed the initiative and reiterated his government's position of Ghana being open for business and investments.
Well, that'll be all for business. Time now for sports.
A Cristiano Ronaldo hat-trick helped Real Madrid beat City rivals Atletico Madrid 3-0 in the first leg of their Champions League semi-final. It took just 10 minutes for Ronaldo to open the scoring with a header from 6 yards out. And in doing so, the Portugal international became the first player to reach 50 goals in the knockout stages. After half-time, Ronaldo made it Champions League goal number 102 with a fine volley from the edge of the area before completing his hat-trick 4 minutes from time with a simple tap-in. For the large part, it was a nervy affair at the Bernabeu, but Ronaldo's 7th Champions League hat-trick means Real will be confident of dispatching Atletico for a 4th straight season in Europe when heading to the Vicente Calderon next week. Monaco's free-scoring attack will face its sternest test yet as rising star Kylian Mbappe and Leonardo Jardim's young team prepare to take on Juventus for a place in the Champions League final. Jardim has so far guided his side through qualifying and a group stage campaign which also contained Tottenham and Bayer Leverkusen. Monaco then knocked out big-spending Manchester City before overcoming Borussia Dortmund in what was a testing quarter-final after the first leg bomb scare in Germany. On Wednesday night, the Stade Louis will play host to an Italian side who were so impressive in the way they restricted a marauding Barcelona both at home and away, securing their place in the last 4 without conceding a goal over 180 minutes.
Coming up now is International Brief.
Starting off in Uganda, 6 journalists marching in support of World Press Freedom Day were arrested this morning in the Ugandan capital, Kampala. Reports say one journalist for Urban TV was beaten and his trousers torn, with officers throwing him to the ground, treading on him and putting him onto a waiting police truck. It says that the journalists have all now been released without charge. In Nigeria, Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has missed a weekly cabinet meeting for the 3rd time in a row. Yesterday, a group of prominent Nigerians called on Mr. Buhari to take medical leave amid growing concern about his health. In March, he returned from 7 weeks of medical leave in the UK, where he was treated for an undisclosed illness. When he returned home, he said he had never been so ill in his life. The UK won't pay a €100 billion divorce bill to leave the EU as the two sides clash over the issue. Brexit Secretary David Davis says UK would pay what was legally due in line with its rights and obligations, but not just what the EU wants. Meanwhile, EU chief negotiator Michel Barnier said there was no desire to punish the UK, but its accounts must be settled.
A final look at our top stories on Newsroom. The world marks Press Freedom Day. Here in Ghana, government reiterates its commitment to pass the Right to Information Bill into law. Parts of the Accra-Tema motorway to be closed to traffic for the next 3 months, making way for repair works. In business, board chairman of Cocoa Board tours cocoa processing facilities in Tema. In sports, Cristiano Ronaldo's hat-trick helped Real Madrid beat city rivals Atletico Madrid 3-0 in the first leg of their Champions League semi-final. And in Uganda, journalists arrested on World Press Freedom Day. That's how we end today's edition of Newsroom. My name is Kemini Amano. Do join us at 7 p.m. on News Tonight for the latest news around the world and here in Ghana. In between that, log on to GHOneTV.com to read some more news. Goodbye.
Africa's hottest show is back. And this year, MTV Sugar is heading south.
Femi, welcome to Josie.
To a city that never sleeps.
Fun! You can have fun here. Have you even seen my work? Art! Rubbish, man. How would you even know?
MTV Sugar, down south.
Don't mess with me. You're in Joburg now.